Do you ever have those weeks where 1 minute you're discussing the nuances of powder blues with an internationally celebrated interior styling and spatial design expert who's been kind enough to help you create a bespoke decorative colour palette for your home, and the next you found yourself rudely thrust 15 feet into the air, wielding a chainsaw in the bucket of a famously unreliable tractor whilst apples rain around your ears in an attempt to free a 3-storey lorry full of 200 sheep from your apple tree? No? Oh, that must just be us then. Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to the one and only Duncan House Diaries. This week, Jazzy and I have been pedal to the metal Billy bonkers busy at the house. We've started putting up the Christmas decks. Our dear friend Freddie, who you'll remember from the Chimney Saga last year, has returned from sea and popped in to pay us a visit. Not only helping us to finish laying the Room of Doom floor, but he also had the gall to challenge me to a screw gun race. Place your bets. Louis has been plastering like his life depends on it, and I have finally been able to find gas canisters that fit the 100-year-old antique water spritzer, which we found abandoned in the walk-in fridge, and decided, against advice that it may well explode under the pressure, because I love you all, screwed one in straight away. World War Windows enters its 12th month, but I assure you that despite the ghost attacking me again, the big bad Bay reveal is on the horizon. Talking of horizons, ours disappeared entirely this week as we had some frightfully mysterious and positively spooky fog descend on the Dove Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, ready your cups of tea, biscuits, and for those of you so inclined, your Freddos, you know who you are. Because it's been a bumper week here in the English countryside, and we cannot wait to share it with you all.
Good morning from a bright, early and cold Duncan House. We're here earlier today. We have got a really busy rest of the week. Shock for a change. We've got Hurricane Louis today, we've got Driv the roofer coming, we have Mark the plumber coming on Friday, and today we have our very kind friend Freddie, who was very kindly offered over a drink at the pub last night to help Jack finish the flooring in the Room of Doom. We really need to get that floor done so we can get on with the rest of the room. So we're here at 7 a.m. Now, I know I keep banging on about it, but the day we have electricity in this house, I mean, as you can see now, it is pitch black. When we're actually able to turn on the lights in all these rooms, it's just going to feel so much better and so much more inviting. We are getting closer and closer to that stage, but we're still a little way off, sadly. So I'll have to come and stand in the light of the bay window.
Being able to see what you're doing is particularly useful, especially when you have a floor to finish. So before we did anything else in the Room of Doom, it was time to get the Christmas lights up. Three, 2, 1. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Too soon? Freddie and I met some 12 years ago in a place called Villanova in Spain, where we were both working together on a super yacht, of all things. Since then, Fred and I have actually renovated quite a few houses together. Unlike me, Fred still works at sea and has a jolly good time travelling around the world looking after billionaires. But when he's home on leave, I always think it's terribly good for him to get back down to reality and help me at the house. Jokes aside, Fred is not only a truly dear friend, but he is a very skilled craftsman, and having done so many projects together in the past, we are able to collaborate quite seamlessly. Short and simply, getting stuff done. In the interest of getting stuff done, Fred also knows exactly when to ignore me.
You shall not part us.
He must not be a fan of Tolkien. You'll also realise now where I get my love of a mid-job motivational dance from. This one, I believe, was Dancing Queen by ABBA. Now you'll no doubt notice a distinct lack of orthopaedic boot on my left foot. Well, the boot was frankly cramping my style, so instead I have simply trussed it up like a Christmas turkey in vet wrap, and it seems to be doing okay. Naturally, as one does when one is screwing in hundreds and hundreds of screws, Fred and I got onto the subject of power tools. And, naturally, as one does when one is joshing with one's friend, we decided that the only way to determine impact driver superiority was to have a 4-screw point-to-point race. On your marks, get set, huzzah!
So we have Despina coming today, who is going to help us and advise us on how on earth we begin to tackle the interiors of the house. She's going to help us on everything to do with colour and the paint choices, what we want the room to feel like, kind of timeless or calming. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to hearing what she thinks, because I've had a Pinterest page now for 7 years.
How many years?
7 years.
Crikey.
And I feel like I can actually start seeing it inside this house.
Despina Curtis is the former editor of Elle Decoration UK and is one of the owners of Ete, a bespoke colour consultancy based in London, who we are privileged to be collaborating with. Today was the first of many visits, which will allow Despina not only to find out more about us, but more about Duncombe House, so that she and her partner Natalie can start to create a unique colour palette for our home. Despina asked us a very interesting question, which I haven't ever given much thought to. Instead of asking us what our favourite colour was, she is an expert after all and not a 7-year-old in the playground, she asked us what colours we definitely wouldn't want in our home, and I'm ashamed to say I wasn't entirely sure how to answer. So I want to ask you, lovely lot, what you think. Which colours do you think would suit and not suit Duncombe House? Please let us know in the comments. Before I put you all out of your misery and reveal the winner of the highly anticipated screw gun race, I want to show off another one of our finds. For those of you new here, you may not be aware that when we bought Duncombe House, we also purchased the entire contents. Hundreds of years' worth of forgotten treasures, which we are slowly going through piece by piece. A few months ago, I was rummaging around in the walk-in freezer of all places and stumbled across this. Now, I vaguely recognise what it was, but I'd be lying if I said that I was 100% certain. After a little bit of research, however, I can confirm, ladies and gentlemen, that this is a 100-year-old original Sparklets Type C soda siphon from the Roaring '20s. After a little further research, I realised that what I needed to get this badger going again were some replacement CO2 cartridges. On the third try, I managed to get some that actually fitted. Now, being 100 years old and all, there was, naturally, a fair to middling chance that the glass would simply fail when pressurised and explode in my face. But, as you'll no doubt know by now, we never let common sense get in the way of a little fun. So, after filling the old girl up with water to just over the red safety line, because laughing in the face of danger is what we do here at Duncombe House, I slowly and tentatively screwed in the charging key. I'm afraid you're going to have to wait a few more moments before you find out whether or not I blew myself to kingdom come, because it is time for your obligatory dose of bay window.
And we're back on the bay windows. These windows seem to be the bane of our life a little bit, but we've got some dry weather, so Jack has been sanding this morning and I'm going to do some painting while he continues to work on the middle section. No rain tonight, so we have to get these windows done and completely painted and watertight before the weather turns and it also gets too cold to paint, which we are going to be there in the next few weeks. So ideally, the next few days, these will be done.
Earlier this week, I managed to get the far left segment primed, meaning we are on to the final furlong, of preparation at least. The stained glass upper segments of the bay windows require an excruciating level of care and attention. Over the years, they have been painted over again and again. Now the sensible thing to do would have been to simply add another layer of paint, but we are not sensible. So I have been fastidiously cleaning every last bit of paint from the lead and the surrounding beading with chisels and sandpaper. As we all know, the most dangerous tool is a blunt tool. So I decided to give these chaps a little sharpen before the day begun. And before you ask, I have no idea where they're going. Now these chisels were actually given to me by my grandfather. And before anyone tells me off, these are rough chisels. Bless you. Designed for more robust work like this. My joinery chisels are tucked away and much better cared for, I promise. As you can see, individuals who previously worked on these windows will likely have used sandpaper in a rather willy-nilly fashion, having in places scratched the glass. By using razor-sharp chisels, blades and extreme caution, however, we are able to remove the overzealously applied paint to leave a clean, crisp finish without causing any more scratching. Once that was done, it was time to begin carefully sanding the surrounding trims and beads, using a combination of sandpaper and sanding sponges. Once all those details were seen to, I was able to start sanding the larger faces of the middle section. Annoyingly, we had a small supply chain issue at this point when I realised I had run out of my super duper filler. However, instead of getting angry, I simply took a leaf out of Her Royal Highness Quincy's book, sat down, gave Borgia a little scratch, and remembered that this process is a marathon and not a sprint. And although maybe I hadn't made the progress that I was hoping to, we were still a few steps farther up the mountain. Now, if you'd asked me before last week's episode, I would have assumed that you lot would have backed me in the Great Screw Race. But considering the outcome of the Great Exposed Beam debacle, you'll no doubt all be over the moon to know that Fred absolutely thrashed me.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh no! Oh. No!
In the interest of getting finished up sometime before midnight, we decided it was probably best to get back to work. Now, we are going to be using a thermal heritage approved fibre board on the ceilings in the Room of Doom, and because Fred is a genius, he pointed out that it would probably be sensible, instead of lugging them all up the convoluted staircase, to bring them up through the floor before we finish putting the boards down. What a clever clogs. So we roped in Jazzy and started bringing up the thermal boards and stacking them in the corner. Everything was going suspiciously well, until I suddenly heard the phrase which now puts dread into the deepest crevasses of my soul.
Ah, there's a guy outside in a high vis, Jack. There's a guy outside in a high vis.
It turns out that this particular guy in a high vis was attempting to drop off his sheep in order for them to graze the meadow on our neighbour's land. The problem was, the aforementioned sheep were being transported in a ludicrously large lorry, which, having driven down our track, was now not only unable to go any further because of our apple tree, but was also unable to turn around or reverse. I think the technical term is he was up Ship Creek without a paddle. We did some head scratching between us, and you will no doubt be amazed to know that of all the options we considered, we decided that the safest involved the following. I, having only just taken off my boot, was to climb into the bucket of Rob's tractor. He would then hoist me up into the canopy of the apple tree, where I was to carefully cut the obstructing branches, allowing the lorry to pass and the sheeps to be free. Just to add some spice to this vindaloo of a situation, the offending branch just happened to be well and truly entwined with the overhead power lines. What could possibly go wrong? This utter nonsense, to be frank, makes pressurising a 100-year-old glass bottle with CO2 seem like a kindergarten science project. So, before I risk life and limb for the sake of a few lamb shanks, let's see what happened when we charged up the sparklets. Now that is one satisfying noise. Although I'm still not entirely sure of the actual utility of this contraption, please let me know in the comments if you are, I'm nonetheless besotted by the fact that it still works so well after 100 years. Charity shop or mantelpiece, folks? Let me know what you think. Despite my better judgment and Jazzy's borderline aggressive protestations, up I went. And luckily, after some choice chopping and ducking and diving to avoid the deluge of apples, I was able to trim the tree sufficiently for the lorry to squeeze past, and for the, let's be honest, rather magnificent sheep to be free to explore their new home.
Stay, Quincy.
Then there was just the small task of clearing up the resulting carnage before Fred and I made the final push on the Room of Doom floor. The Room of Doom has been flawless now for some 12 months. Flawless as in without a flaw, not flawless as in without any flaws. So this is truly a magnificent step in our renovation journey. Incidentally, it feels only fair that I give credit where credit is due. It was in fact Frederick who invented the now widely adopted PPT, or Personal Protective T-shirt, which he is perfectly demonstrating here. And just like that, the final piece of flooring slots into place. Freddie, thank you very, very, very much.
Should we go? Oh, yeah.
Happy Sunday morning from Duncombe House. We had a hell of a day on Friday when we had Fred helping us and we had Louis here.
On that note, quick tip for you all. This is why you don't share your lunch with a golden retriever, because you will literally never get rid of them again.
I was running around as the apprentice, so Did about 30,000 steps that day.
What a show off, hey?
In the middle of it all, of course, we had a lorry full of sheep that got stuck under one of our apple trees. And people often ask, like, why are you not in your house yet? It's because just like that, we've lost 3 hours of our day helping a lorry trying to get past. But anyway, we had a really productive day. We've had a couple of late nights this week, so it's so nice today to see the sun is shining. We're back here. I'm going to have a massive tidy up. Louis has done the plastering of the ceiling above us. The room of doom has finally got a floor. But yeah, we've had a really productive week. It was just a mad few days. I had a slight sense of humour loss on Thursday night when I was still plastering at 7 p.m. For anyone considering buying an old house that needs lots of work and lots of renovation, this is my note to you to say, don't. Just don't. Yeah, all going well.
So as the sun sets on another immeasurably busy week here on the Derbyshire-Staffordshire border, we once again thank our lucky stars to have our health and happiness. Let me thank every single one of you who condescends to watch our little videos every single week. Let me extend an especially large thank you this week to YouTube user DLH for your super thanks last week. Your generosity truly warms our hearts. Next week, my friends, amongst a load of other rubbish no doubt, we are going up in the world. The leaking of the coach house roof has reached borderline biblical proportions recently.
Good job you weren't walking there then, mate.
And considering that's where we store the majority of our building materials, it is rather crucial that we get that fixed ASAPosaurus Rex. If by some miracle you do actually find yourself enjoying our silly little videos, please do like, subscribe, comment, and share with anyone who will listen. Have a most marvellous of weeks, ladies and gentlemen. TTFN.